Hello, my darlings. I hope you are all well and having a fabulous day. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a quick recap of Celebrity Big Brother episode 10. I am dropping daily quick recaps of this whole season, so if that sounds like something that you're interested in, click the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And while you're at it, check out my Big Brother recap playlist to catch up on all the episodes that you may have missed. And without further ado, let's just get into it. My darlings, tonight was insane. If you watched my yesterday's recap, you will know that I said that the episode was so boring because it was really boring yesterday. Like, nothing was going on. But I'm telling you this now. Tonight's episode literally more than made up for it. Full of spice. I am not joking. Today is nomination day. Nominations have come back around again because, of course, tomorrow is Friday and not one, but two housemates are going to be evicted tomorrow. Two. However, the housemates only think it's going to be one, so there's the twist. Moving on. Big Brother announced that there had been two occasions of a rule break. Rule break number 1 was between Louis and Marisha, and then rule break number 2 was between Louis, Nikita and Levi. Big Brother punished Louis and Marisha, which I found a bit unfair because she just happened to be dragged into the situation by him to do housework for the day, to wash plates, and Marisha had to assist him. Big Brother set up a fun fair to celebrate the housemates reaching the halfway point of being in the house. Guys, like, time is going so quickly. We literally only have 1.5 weeks left. Like, time has gone super quick anyway. And during the fun fair, it got announced that Marisha has been nominated for an Olivier Award for Best Actress in a Musical for Guys and Dolls, which I thought was so lovely, and it was such a lovely moment how Big Brother announced it to her. And then things took a really sinister turn. Big Brother announced that everybody had to go over to the kissing booths where they would do a face-to-face nomination session. And guys, things got serious. So, first up, we had Bradley. And his first nomination was Louis, and it was basically for not pulling his weight. And to be fair, every time he's voted, he's literally said the same thing. So I feel like he's very consistent and really meaningful about his choice. And his second nomination, again, was EKIN-SU. Same reason as before. He just hasn't had any deep and meaningful conversations with her. He has with everybody else, but he just cannot with her for some reason. And of course, as well, he's such a sensitive soul. You could see he was struggling with the fact that he had to do it in front of everybody, and he was quite tearful, but he managed to get through it. Oh, and they had to kiss the person that they nominated after they had said their nomination. So Bradley gave Louis a kiss and he gave EKIN-SU a kiss. Next up was Coulson, and Coulson voted for Louis, and again it's because of Louis's laziness. He was like, as time goes on, we're going to have more shit to do basically, and if Louis doesn't want to do it, or if Louis isn't going to do it, it's just going to put more pressure on us. And then his second nomination was, of course, Levi, and again it was because of the boring comment, and he said that it made him question himself as a person and who he is, which I thought was a bit much, to be honest. I feel like you're piling a bit too much weight on Levi for a simple comment, a simple flippant comment. If it wasn't you, it would have been another housemate. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like Levi's not that much of a bad guy for saying what he said. The issue lies with you, Coulson. I do like you, but you're going to have to rein it back a bit. You're acting like a bit of a drama queen. Anyway, next up was David, and David's first nomination was for Levi. He said he's a gem in this house. However, once again, and he has said this before, whenever he speaks to him, Levi never asks anything about him. It's always a bit of a one-way street, and he said that in the last nominations. And then his second nomination was Louis, and again, Louis's not stepping up to the plate. He isn't doing anything, and ultimately they live in a big house, things need to be done, and he's putting more weight on everybody else. Next up was EKIN-SU, and her first nomination, I want to say it surprised me, but it didn't. Okay, her first nomination was Louis, and the rationale is he's my friend, but he's lazy, and she would prefer someone who would do more in the house. Louis genuinely looked floored by the comment, but he took it on the chin because he had already received 100 nominations before she took centre stage. And her second nomination, of course, was Fearne. And she's literally consistently voted for Fearne since the show has begun. And same reasons, where she just hasn't had that deep conversation. And that is a direct quote, guys. She says, I just haven't had that deep conversation with her. She also said that Fearne hasn't asked anything about her, and when she does speak about herself, Fearne seems like she's not interested. At this point, I'm thinking, what is Ekin expecting from Fearne? Why is she expecting to have such a deep conversation with her? I don't quite get it. It's a bit strange, as if to say Fearne has to be interested in her. I don't get it. Anyway, next up was Fearne, and I'm rooting for Fearne, right? So her first nomination was Louis, again because of his laziness. Honestly, that was just an ongoing it was an ongoing point all night. But basically she said that his laziness irritates her. It's annoying. He's constantly leaving coffee cups all over the place, and to be quite frank, it just pisses her off. And her second nomination was EKIN-SU, once again, and as we know, she's been consistent with the same vote, but this time she took it up a notch, and I absolutely loved this. And she was like, talk about playing a game. EKIN-SU is really playing a game here. Basically, Fearne says she's asked EKIN-SU plenty of questions, but EKIN-SU's answers are not enlightening. That's a bit cheeky, but she's being fair, and she basically said, I just don't feel like we get each other, and that's it. And furthermore, I feel like she's wearing a mask. She's got loads of different personalities. She feels like she absorbs personalities quickly, and she's wearing a mask, and ultimately she's playing a game. And Ekin's face just literally hit the floor. And then Louis topped it off with, that was brilliant. And I cannot deal with the commentary from that guy. Anyway, moving on to Levi. His first nomination was, of course, Coulson, and it was a bit of a tit for tat thing. He basically said, I'm voting for Coulson because he misunderstood my reason for calling him boring. He took it too personally. He apologised, and Coulson's not making an effort, and ultimately just hasn't accepted his apology, sorry. And then his second nomination was again David, and he basically said that David is right, but he has tried to get to know him, but in his own way, and he doesn't feel like David is making an effort to see how he's trying to get to know him. So that was that. And then we had Louis, and his first nomination was for, again, Zeze, which I feel like was no surprise, but I'm thinking, again, Louis, again, give her a break. Anyway, he said, she's not 100% warm with me. She tolerates me in the house. And then he went on to say, at the end of the day, I'm a lazy guy, and that's just me, and I'm not hiding it. I'm not fake. I'm not acting. A lot of people in the house are acting, but I'm not one of them. And Zeze was basically like, oh, well, okay. And his second nomination was for David, and he basically said he's extremely loud and I don't love loud all the time. And to be fair, you can see David is winding people up with his loudness, because he's loud all day. He only has an off and on switch, like there's no variance with the volume. So you can see, I think there was a couple of episodes ago, he was up early in the morning and he was just doing the most, and Louis was like, can you just shut up please? And I feel like, as much as I like him, like that loudness would do my head in after a while, so I could agree with him there. Next up we had Marisha, and her first nomination was Louis, and I absolutely loved this one. I love this explanation. Absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he's a lazy bum, but she said Louis is truthful with his words, but he needs to know when to hold and when to fold. You need to know how to be quiet. And I thought to myself, you have said it the best. Nobody else has been able to quite stand up almost to him and actually say that, but I think she said it the best. She said it brilliantly. Louis, shut the hell up sometimes. You're doing too much. Her second nomination, now this is where shit gets a bit real. Her second nomination was EKIN-SU, and her reason was, if she gets to the final, she feels like she wouldn't be able to beat EKIN-SU, because EKIN-SU knows how to win. She knows how to play the game. And I thought, bloody hell, spot on. So she's saying, you know what, if ever I have a chance at winning, you will be my number one opponent. So let me take you down now, basically. And at the end of it, she said, at the end of the day, EKIN-SU's been on a lot of shows and she'll have it in the bag, and the public will vote for her, and she's got a big following, so the odds are stacked up against her to win. And then Ekin clapped back immediately and said, basically, Marisha's judging her for being on other shows, and she thought that they were friends. And then it started to get a bit tense, like it got very, 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 very tense. Like it was already tense, but it went up several notches at this point. And Marisha was just like, I'm just saying how I feel. And she was like, I thought we were friends. Like this whole time I thought we were friends. And Marisha's like, we are friends, but this is just how I feel. Like, I don't know if it's the right or wrong thing that I've done, but it's just how I feel. And of course, remember I mentioned earlier that they were supposed to kiss the person that they nominated. Well, EKIN-SU went, no, I don't want to kiss. And Marisha was like, well, okay. And Louis piped up again with, good on you, girl. And and Zeze was like, give it a rest, Louis. And Louis was like, I'm not going to give it a rest. It's nothing to do with you. And she's like, well, if it's nothing to do with me, it's nothing to do with you either. Like, stop talking. Guys, it was a lot. It was a lot. Anyway, next up was Nikita. And literally, you could see he found it hard. Was near tears or actually crying. And he was like, number one, Louis. And again, it's because of the laziness and not helping out around the house. And Louis was like, stop crying, for God's sake. And then his second nomination again was for Fearne. And I thought, at this point now, I'm thinking, Nikita, we've seen you connect so much with Fearne over the last couple of days, especially when she got nominated. Like, why do you keep nominating this woman? Again, he said that he would love to see her participating more in the things that he does and spending more time together. And I kind of felt like that was a bit of a weak excuse, to be quite honest with you. Just respect her for who she is. She's not a 20-year-old whippersnapper. She's a bloody 60-odd-year-old woman who's had a shoulder replacement and is at a certain stage in her life. So she's not going to be swinging off chandeliers like you. So I didn't really respect that rationale, to be honest with you. And then next up we had Zeze. And once again, Louis chimed in and he was like, here we go. And Zeze basically just shot him a look. She was like, my first nomination is, of course, Louis. And she said his mouth is too free. He talks about people too freely. And she said the same thing in her last nomination. She's wary of people that speak about other people so much, because ultimately she fears that she will become one of the people that gets spoken about. And I couldn't agree more. And then the second nomination was EKIN-SU. And she said that she feels like it's weird that EKIN-SU is calling Louis lazy when she ultimately enabled Louis. Last week, she was the one that was making all the teas for him. And now all of a sudden, she's saying that he's lazy and she wants him to go. So she doesn't understand that. Again, EKIN-SU piped up with, I've got no problem with you. And Zeze was like, well, I've got no problem with you either. It's just my opinion, basically. And she gave her a kiss, and that was the end of the votes. So, to clarify, there are 5 people up for nomination tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. So that's Levi, Fearne, Louis, David, and EKIN-SU. And 2 out of those 5 people are going to be leaving the house. I can't even give my predictions right now because I just don't know who it's going to be. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Who do you think is going to be going home? What do you think about tonight's episode? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.